The Toronto Blue Jays have been linked with a couple of under-the-radar trade partners, and Erik Swanson, he's spoken out to the media for the first time since being traded to the Blue Jays. So we'll break that down and much more on this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside co-host Nick Gosse. Got a lot to get into today. First, I want to thank you all for helping us hit 3K subscribers. I guess you could say we're on the road to 4K now, but I like 5K a little bit better as an overall number. So let's aim for that by I don't know, the end of December. Is that a realistic goal, Nick?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Maybe by Christmas time we hit 5K, but yeah, the support's been unbelievable. It feels like we're just growing so much every day. So thank you guys so much for that. And a quick reminder, 84.7% of you guys who are watching right now are not subscribed. So if you enjoy the daily Jays content, make sure you hit the subscribe button, as it means the world to me and Peter. And yeah, just keep it up. Support's been unbelievable, and keep commenting. We love talking to you guys in the comment section. So let's get into the first topic of the video. We have a few good ones to get into today. This first one is massive trade incoming. Now, there's been lots of trade rumors, lots of speculation, and the couple we have today are a bit different, a bit more, under the radar ones that you guys may have not seen. So I'll bring up a quick screenshot now. This is between the Jays and the Guardians, with Alejandro Kirk being the centerpiece, and we'll talk about a potential trade suitor. So it's essentially, this article from The Athletic says the emergence of Canadian Bo Naylor gives Cleveland an in-house option regarding catcher, but it's hard not to wonder about a team that scouted Kirk so heavily in the past. It basically just goes on to talk about Jansen, how he could be a good fit, and then they interviewed club president of the Guardians, and he says, we're open at that position. We're obviously excited about the future, but at the same time, if there are ways to improve, we'll look to do those. Now, obviously they have Bo Naylor, a young catcher who could be a stud. However, if they're looking to, compete now and want to get a better MLB ready now option, the Jays have a potential, they could be a potential trade suitor for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Jays, it's been very well documented that they have three very good catchers, and you can't have three very good catchers when you have other holes to fill on your roster. So one of them is going to be leaving town soon. We just don't know which one it's going to be. Kirk, I think, has the second highest value of the three, and Gabby Moreno is their prized possession, their number one prospect. He could get you the biggest haul, but you only trade a guy like that if you're bringing back a superstar or a very, very good star player in return. So I don't think Cleveland will give us Jose Ramirez. He's a no trade clause. He wants to stay there. So if you're not getting him, then yes, you got to trade either Jensen or Kirk. And they have some intriguing young pieces that they could bring back our way, but I don't know. I mean, Cal Quantrill is like the first name that comes to mind. He's a Canadian boy. He would love to pitch in Toronto, I'm sure, and he's still got 3 years of control. He's been a solid starter. There are a couple other names out there, but I don't know if Cleveland was like one of my main trade partners going into this offseason.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't talked about them much, so it's kind of unique to see a thing about it. I have another screenshot here, and this is from Jim Bowden, and it says Chris Antonetti of the Guardians told us that Shane Bieber will not be traded and will be a part of their team, as expected. When asked if he was closer to acquiring Sean Murphy or Alejandro Kirk, he suggested we ask them. They are trying to add a catcher and a bat, and Kirk's name is already appearing in some early offseason rumors linked to the Guardians. So maybe Alejandro Kirk might be the one to go if it's the Guardians. I've also seen a couple, the trade rumors been circling around. I believe it was Gabby Moreno for Oscar Gonzalez and Cal Quantrill, or something, a package along those lines, which is very intriguing and could end up working for both sides, or Alejandro Kirk for Cal Quantrill and Oscar Gonzalez, whatever one it is. Both would kind of work, and that would give us a starter and, another good bat. But what are your thoughts on that trade, if that was to come to
I don't
fruition?
know. I don't know if I love that. I mean, right now in the short term, it would help you out a little bit, but I think that would end up burning the Blue Jays in the near future. Because Oscar Gonzalez, yes, he was a rookie. He had a couple of great moments in the playoffs. He had those walk-off hits. The Guardians were a great story last season, but Kyle Quantrill, I mean, yes, he's a very consistent starter, but he's kind of a mid-tier starter, either third or fourth type starter. He doesn't strike out many guys. He keeps the ball in the ballpark. Very Ross Stripling-esque, if I were to describe him in one way. But I don't know if I would trade Moreno for a package of those two. If it was like for Bieber, then maybe. But they wouldn't look to trade Bieber because they're still looking to play deep into the playoffs. So
Yeah.
no, I don't think I would do that trade. And it's not just Moreno either. It's another add-on piece
Yeah.
that we would have to give them. So it's a lot to give up for uncertainty coming back your way.
Yeah, it depends how much how highly you are on Cal Quantrill and Oscar, and obviously for Shane Bieber, we'd certainly do it. But yeah, it's an interesting talk, and we don't really know where it'll go. It depends if that's a trade. Honestly, it's a realistic trade though. It's a fairly realistic trade. I don't think
Yeah.
the Jays might do it. Who knows? Again, it just depends on their internal evaluations. But let us know in the comment section what you guys think of that, because I know a lot of Jays fans are saying it's a pretty fair trade, and obviously I don't know if I'd want to give
Yeah.
up Gabby for those two either, but it depends how high you are on Cal Quantrill, because he does have a high ceiling. He's not super old. I believe, what, like 26, 27, something like that. So, I don't know. It'll be an interesting,
Yeah.
it would be an interesting trade.
Yeah, I'll just add another point to what you're saying. Yes, Oscar Gonzalez and Quantrill. I think Quantrill's like 24 or
Maybe
25. I
younger, yeah.
could be mistaken. But that I mean that's a really good piece to get in return. I mean, he's a starter with control,
Yeah.
but Oscar Gonzalez, he's a right-handed hitting outfielder. Yes, he was a rookie and you'll have him for at least 5 years, but I don't know. I don't know if that answers any of our questions that we have in the outfield to put Oscar Gonzalez, who's not a great defender, but he can really swing it. But it doesn't help your lefty bat situation. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing to trade Gabby in that specific instance there. It has to be the right piece
Yeah.
coming
And
back.
I agree. It would be a very, very interesting trade, and one that I don't know. It's honestly seems like a half realistic option if that was if that was
It does,
proposed.
yeah.
But speaking of more trades, let's get into the second one, which is potential trade with the Diamondbacks. Now, this one has been getting a lot of circulation as well. Uh, so a report came out just the other day saying from Ken Rosenthal, Arizona, whose roster includes 4 left-handed hitting center fielders, are open to a trade. Corbin Carroll is off limits, according to sources, but 3 others with the ability to play center, Dalton Varsho, Alec Thomas, and Jake McCarthy, are in play. Followed up by an article posted by the Athletic. Followed up by Ken Rosenthal saying the Diamondbacks have 4 left-hand swings. The same report, but first off, fret not, D-backs fans. Carroll is off limits, but Varsho is also unlikely to be moved, especially with him being able to play catcher too. Varsho is such a neat player. He would be so cool to have, but it's looking like it's between Alec Thomas and Jake McCarthy. So, what are your thoughts on the potential framework for a trade? I was more on the Varsho train, even though he's not really
Yeah.
a phenomenal hitter, but it's looking like, they're 2 young studs in Varsho, and Corbin Carroll is off limits. So, what are your thoughts on McCarthy and Thomas?
Oh, I mean, I think they're intriguing pieces. I'm more on the McCarthy hype train, even though Alec Thomas was a rookie, played a great center field when he was up with the Diamondbacks for around like half a season, a bit more than half a year. But I mean, Varsho would be the guy that you would go for there. He still hit 27 home runs. Yeah, he's still a little raw at the plate. He's only had a couple years of major league experience, but the guy plays a Gold Glove center field, and he's built like Mike Trout. He can catch too. I mean, like you said it, he's just unique
Yeah.
and built like a linebacker that can run a 4-4, and that's the type of player that Dalton Varsho is. Just a freak of nature out there in center field and makes it look easy. But between Alec Thomas and Jake McCarthy, I think I would more lean towards Jake McCarthy because I mean he finished third in Rookie of the Year voting, I think, and
Yeah.
he's got a bit more power potential and he's an equally good center fielder
Yeah,
too.
it's I'm kind of on the same wave. Like I'm not really super high on either of the two that are McCarthy or Thomas. I don't know what a trade. They didn't really give a framework, so maybe I'm assuming it would be something like Kirk for McCarthy, or yeah, McCarthy or Thomas. Obviously, with some prospects going either way. But I have another screenshot to pop up here. This obviously talks a bit more about Thomas and McCarthy. So, like you said, Thomas is 22, hit 231 as a rookie last year. There's more upside there, and he's a great defender for Thomas. And then McCarthy hit better with 23 stolen bases, finishing 4th. Yeah, so not 3rd, but 4th in NL Rookie of the Year voting. If the D-backs do deal, they're reporting looking for right-handed power and big league ready pitching. So I don't know how much big league ready pitching we have available to throw, but you were right in saying that, McCarthy is the better hitter. Thomas is, he does some other stuff. So I don't know. It's very interesting. I'll quickly pop up this for you Savant fans. This is Alec Thomas's Baseball Savant, and it's nothing crazy. Not a phenomenal hitter in his rookie year, but you can see there's some peripherals there for, for potential. he's really fast and is a pretty
Yeah.
really good defender. So I don't know. It'll be very, very interesting. And again, the guys you'd want for if you're trading Moreno, one of your key pieces, would be probably Varsho. And I don't even know if the Blue Jays would even do straight up like Kirk for Varsho or anything like that. And it seems that they're looking for big league pitching, which we don't really have an excess of right now. So maybe it's
No.
unlikely. It'll be very, very interesting to see, though. Do you have any final thoughts on that?
Well, that's what the Jays need in return. They need big league pitching, and that's the last thing they could do is give it up to a team like the Diamondbacks in exchange for a center fielder when there are center fielders on the free agent market that you could go get. So, yeah, I think Varsho would be like the top piece that you would go for, but if he is made unavailable, which it looks like it will be the case, you got to go for either McCarthy or Thomas. And I think McCarthy, right now, although his potential isn't as high as Alec Thomas's, he addresses a need that you have because he's a lefty that can really swing it. I mean, he's ever since he's gotten into the major leagues, he's been a good hitter and a good defender, and he's fast as well. So I think that addresses a need, and I think you could get him for honestly cheaper than Alec Thomas right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It'll we'll see. We'll keep update with it. There's so many trade partners. We don't really know which one the Jays line up going for. But let's get into the final topic just really quickly. This is it was done a few hours ago. As of recording, Swanson speaks on Toronto. So obviously Erik Swanson was the big return in the Teoscar Hernandez trade. We've had a couple videos on that, and I'm excited for him. I've been doing a bit more, watching film and looking at his stats. He's going to be a key piece this year, and I think that I'm excited for him. And here's what he had to say before I put the screenshot up. The title or the header of the article from the interview was that he's, I believe, outrageously excited to join Toronto. And he followed that up by saying, I played in Toronto twice now. My first time back in 19, and then obviously for the wild card this year. I love the area. I haven't had a ton of time to explore it, but for the little time I spent there, I've said it both times I've been there, I really do like the Toronto area. It almost kind of feels like home a little bit. So it seems like every player who gets traded or signed in Toronto says positive things about it, which is good. And I'm super pumped for Swanson, even though he's just a reliever. Relievers are very important, and we're going to need him next year.
Yeah, well, he better get used to Toronto being home because he's here for at least the next 3 seasons and hopefully a bit more if he performs well and we re-sign him. But yeah, he's going to be a key piece to that bullpen next year. That was a big area of weakness this past season for the Blue Jays. I still think they need to add a lefty, but I wouldn't be surprised if Erik Swanson is our eighth inning guy or even has a chance to challenge Jordan Romano for that closer spot, but I think that's pretty much locked down for him. But yeah, he's going to be a huge piece on this team come next season, and I'm glad he's already liking his time here because he's going to be here quite a bit too.
Yeah, and it seems like, he's not the youngest guy, but it seems like he figured it out a bit later. Obviously, before the year before last, he had like a 3 ERA, and then last year was down to sub 2 ERA. So if he continues that trajectory, lots of relievers have figured it out late. So hopefully he continues on that path, and maybe he does challenge Jordan Romano in the future. It would take a lot to challenge him, but at the very least, if he's an eighth inning lockdown guy, we got that for Teoscar. Yeah, we'll take it. But thank you guys for watching. That'll wrap the video up. Support's been unbelievable. We are on the road to 4K, and then maybe 5K by Christmas could be attainable. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.